think the best chance of disclosure would come from? Do you think it would come from government, or do you think...
Okay, guys, this is Dr. Demento, and I'm just waking up here, and I realized we're no longer the good guys. We're the bad guys. We haven't been the good guys since World War II. Look at what we're doing. This is not good, guys. Okay, that's it. I gotta go get my coffee now.
What's up, everybody? Sorry about that late start. Sorry about that. Good to see everybody. We have a lot of very interesting stuff that happened in the UFO news today. So we're going to kind of dive right into it. Red's going to be gracing us with his presence in just a little while. But right now, let me give some shout outs to the chat. I see Stoned Ape in there. Good to see you. Alien Girl, good to see you. If you guys don't follow Alien Girl or sub to her YouTube, you definitely should. If you're ever up early in the morning and you're interested in the phenomenon, she's the place to go for show. Dorothy Hawkins, good to see you down there. Heck yeah, guys. Who else is in the mix? YOY, fools. YOY. Good to see you. Dude, we got Buddy James in here. What's up, homie? Dude, guys, I got to be honest with you. We're still working out the chat thing. So my apologies. All right. Your chats, we're going to try to get them in there manually throughout the show. But for now, that's how we're going to have to do it. But we're getting it worked out. But really pumped you guys are in the mix. Oh, do you guys like the swag? Yeah, I'm not ashamed of this at all. I'm pumped about this. I'm pretty sure at some point you guys can get your own hats and shirts and whatnot. But yeah, for now, this is in the mix. Now we had some suspense music going. I think we need a little bit louder in the mix for sure. Let's see. We posted a very interesting UFO video today. Jack Sarfati, if you guys listen to that clip, I don't know if you guys know who Jack Sarfati is, but for those who do, we were blessed with a good morning from Sarfati. Sounded like he still had, like, you know, he was a little groggy. Sarfati is I think he's a certified genius. He is. And he also experienced something kind of unique. At least he thought it was when it happened. And that was essentially, he got a phone call from I guess we gotta say the future. He got a phone call from the future, and it basically asked him if he wanted to participate in some kind of like thing, you know, like a kind of like a human experiment. That there's going to be a lot of people like kind of gathered together, geniuses, people who could think about things. They're going to work together in the future. He said in about 20 years. And then 20 years after that phone call, he ended up meeting Hal Puthoff, Edgar Mitchell, Russell Targ, Brennan O'Regan over at the SRI, the Stanford Research Institute. And that's an interesting tale in and of itself. So, Stoned Ape says that Jack Sarfati retweeted her recently. Oh, the fan art of him and Terrence McKenna in the hot tub. So Sarfati's an old hippie, and I guess these old parties at Essalon used to get pretty spicy. You know what I mean? So they got a hot tub, and I'm really glad you put that into an artistic kind of like rendition so we can kind of see it and experience it without actually having to be there. Not all of us have time travel technology. You know what I mean? That's not an everyday thing. But for now, you know, the time travel thing is kind of in the mix. And I would consider Sarfati one of the first people to like bring this up and to have like a idea about it. Real quick, I'm going to play you guys a clip that I think is super interesting. We talked about this on yesterday's show, but I didn't have the clip ready. So I want to bring it up now. And this is Tom DeLong talking about time and dimensions on the Steve-O Wild Ride podcast. Check this out.
Can you help us understand what's the significance of UFOs?
They're not coming from, well, I should say it this way. The significance of UFOs is multiple parts, but number one, it's not what you think it is. It's not coming from other planets. The evidence doesn't suggest that.
Interdimensional.
Yes. And the reason is because time is time is parallel. It's not linear. Or it's not like we start here and go forward in time. Time is side by side, which means everything in the past and the future is existing in this moment, but within different frequencies. So a civilization that's at the end of their technological cycle could build a submarine that changes its voltage and materializes in that same location, just into our timeline. And then fucking, it's crazy.
Red, you're in the mix.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. I think we all can now.
Cool.
What's up, man?
What up?
Dude, I just got the show started, did a couple clips. I don't know if you got a chance to hear the Jack Sarfati voice memo from this morning.
No, I'm completely out of the loop on that one.
Okay, I'm gonna play it again. Chat, I'm sorry, I gotta play this again. This is in pure Sarfati form, and I think it's lighthearted and a good way to kind of kick this off, right? Red and I got a great show planned for you guys tonight, but we got to catch them up to speed on what this is all about. So classic Sarfati, here we go.
Okay, guys, this is Dr. Demento, and I'm just waking up here, and I realized we're no longer the good guys. We're the bad guys. We haven't been the good guys since World War II. Look at what we're doing. This is not good, guys. Okay, that's it. I gotta go get my coffee now.
What do you think about that?
Interesting. I don't know.
He's not every day. He's not every day we get a Sarfati good morning, dude. It is not every day.
He is a character for sure.
Dude. Yeah, Stone Date brought up that he retweeted her drawing of him at the Esalen Institute with Terrence McKenna. If you're not familiar with that story, get familiar. Definitely lends to his characterness.
Let's see if we could pull that up. Is that recent?
I think so.
But yeah, that story goes back to he was talking on some podcast about how basically he was like hot business back in the day and was teaching physics to super hot hippie babes at the Esalen Institute in a jacuzzi with, I believe, who else was there?
Terrence McKenna.
Oh, Terrence McKenna.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even Ingo Swann.
That's not a bad guess. I think he might have been just kind of in the mix back then. And then we got like Joe McMoneagle and whatnot too. But who knows? Who knows who's in that hot tub? Especially over all that time. To be a ufologist or a theoretical physicist in the 70s and the 60s must have been so crazy. You know what I mean? It is like, as far as I can tell, it was like still super experimental, super kind of vague, and the people exploring that topic were kind of like, you know, hippies and trippers and stuff like that. It's kind of an interesting thing that they're the ones who kind of cracked into that and kind of forced it open almost.
Also, sidebar, we're both rocking our Skyfire News merch.
Oh, it looks good.
My camera is fully charged today, so that's cool. That's exciting.
There it is. We'll see. No show is without its technical difficulties, but hopefully we are they're shrinking. Hopefully that number's lower in every episode. But I'm excited about today, man.
Yeah.
Second episode, or third technically.
If anyone in the live chat wants to come in and just kind of be the panelist for today, if you have a camera, we could send you that link. A little rough scheduling, but we do have some people scheduled for the rest of the week, so that'll be fun. That'll be exciting.
Dude, we got some good guests coming for the rest of the week. I mean, we'll just surprise you guys. We'll drop the thumbnail.
Yeah, let's surprise them. Yeah. That's kind of my vote too. Let's surprise them. But also, I don't see that this is streaming to Twitter. Just FYI.
Oh, you know what? Let's get this over to Twitter. How do you guys feel about it? Let's open up those Twitter doors, dude.
Maybe Shane might pop in. If you're a reserve guest, we'll see.
Great.
He was loving that that clip of David Morehouse kind of crapping on Grush. You know, those clips always send because people have so much. People feel really strongly about it both ways, you know. So I'm definitely excited to get into that.
You talking about like the Grush thing, his whistleblower status, or like what?
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know whatever order you want to go with, but I just remember Shane was all about it today on Twitter. So if he comes in, I'm sure he's going to be
Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's save it. Let's save it for Shane. Let's see if he comes in. I think that's a good idea.
cool.
Shane's another character, dude. Like he can really crack into something. Well, yeah, we got a very interesting UFO video that got kind of posted. It was about regarding the Sphere Network, possibly Patrick Jackson type stuff. We could start with that, or we can just kind of like go with whatever you want, Red. I mean, I'm kind of excited about all the options we got in front of us. It's like a buffet. I like buffets, dude.
You know it, dude. I love a good buffet too.
So good. There's nothing better, but I mean, a cookout's way better. I guess there's a lot of things better than a buffet.
But I'm down. Yeah, let's start with the Sphere Network stuff because I kind of was out of the loop on this one.
Okay, cool. So this is a video. I think it's from 2012. All right, but what it shows is it's just one of those videos that kind of haunts you, sticks with you, because it's not easy to dismiss and it's really hard to explain, if not impossible. Check this out, guys.
Orbiting that planet over there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. I don't know if you can see that, but there's something orbiting that planet over there. See it?
Strange.
Oh.
Not sure what's going on here. That's weird. A 10-inch light bridge made by Mead. I'm going to be filming that planet just right there, okay? Now check this out. I've never seen this before, and I'm actually surprised my phone's doing this. But, check this out. Oh my god, it blew up. What the hell? Something just blew the hell up. It was orbiting, and now it blew up, and it's in outer space, and it's no longer there.
Crazy. Okay, so that's a wild video. Looks like a planet exploded. It looks like some scene from Star Wars or something, dude. What do you think that is?
Dude, I don't know. 2012.
Yeah.
Y'all were reaching far back for that one, dude. I don't know. Was there anything else like about it?
Essentially, the reason why I think it was reposted and talked about was because there's a recent article about Patrick Jackson, right? And so Patrick Jackson's the guy behind the 3 spheres, sphere type 2, type 1. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. We'll bring up some more stuff of his. And it's a very interesting case. So Ross Coulthart explored this Sky 7 News. I think it was Sky News. I'm trying to remember which one did it with Ross Coulthart. Even Gary Nolan went in to research this a little bit. So basically, Patrick Jackson has identified what he thinks is this pattern in UFO encounters and even paranormal encounters, which is these 3 spheres, these 3 metallic spheres that are in formation, 3 to 4, 2 or 3 different types of them, and they kind of go around as like an immune system for the planet. I know this is we're getting a little deep now, but all the things leading up to that conclusion of his, it's kind of sound. Like even Gary Nolan said, look, man, there's these objects are in these old photos and no one's ever spotted them before. Like they're in there and no one was looking for basically around photographs of UFOs, aerial objects, even planes. There's sometimes these orbiting metallic spheres that just kind of show up. And Patrick's theory on this is that, like I said, it's an immune system for the planet set up by a previous civilization, super advanced. It like runs on AI, and it just kind of monitors for invasive aerial phenomenon. I think kind of a stretch, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, could that be the case? What do you have? I interviewed Patrick Jackson. I don't know if you were there for that, Red, but I had a space with him a while ago, and he told me he broke it all down for me there. Are you familiar at all with his theories and like what he's kind of on about?
Yeah, more or less the gist of it. He was kind of like the hot stuff there for a minute, right? Didn't Gary Nolan work with him?
Yeah,
His theory is that there's like what you said, there's like a defense thing on Earth that like uses sphere orbs to like defend against other things. But also sidebar, we still are trying to figure out how to connect our thing for the YouTube, but we're able to do that live chat thing for it looks like the Twitter people. So shouts out Mr. Fungi on Twitter. That's Swamp Gas. And also shouts out Peppery Gozin on Twitter saying Mylar balloon with a trapped seagull inside. Next.
Okay.
Also, this person makes some fire meme videos. Everyone should go follow Peppery Gozin. I don't know how to say it.
Go check that out. So are you saying that our Twitter comments are able to come in? So if you want to watch this on Twitter or whatever, and you want to leave a that's something. I love this.
Yeah, and pretty soon, hopefully, we'll get the YouTube one because it works really easy. It's just like a password situation.
Yep.
Yeah, but so the Sphere Network, I mean, pretty interesting. I don't know. That video, honestly, for me, like videos usually are like, it's so hard for me to get like excited from a video, to be honest.
I agree. We've seen so many, we've gotten excited over so many, right? There's like, what are you going to do? Like, unless like you see the video, you have the object, or it's confirmed by multiple videos, multiple sources. But even then, like, you can almost fake anything nowadays. So yeah, the videos are cool. And I like, what do you think? The interesting thing about videos, right, is that they spread the word around. People really enjoy seeing an interesting video that they can't explain. They like being stumped. It's almost like a magic trick or something.
Yeah, very true. I'm sorry, I'm just like adjusting my camera here, but
You're good.
Especially for like right with what we do with Skyfire and like with normies and whatnot. A good solid weird video will reach way more people than like Danny Sheehan trash talking Jay Stratton and Travis Taylor. You know what I mean? So
big time. I
mean, that is interesting, and I do love a good video that has like good like real-time reactions from the people that are there watching it. I love that. So there are I'm being a little what's the word? I'm playing a little hard to get with videos. There are a fair amount of like pretty interesting videos out there. Or you watch it. I mean, you pretty much are never going to learn anything more else about it. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. Honestly, though, this one wasn't that interesting to me. Sorry.
I mean, I've never seen an explosion like that, and it seems like it's in high altitude. It's up there. Like, it's something like, I'm always interested in things that look like they're into space, but they're kind of close. Like that barrier between outer space and our atmosphere is interesting. You see like these high altitude spy balloons supposedly getting shot down. Like there's just this border area there that just seems like it's a sweet spot for tech to go around, be around.
Should we do a little meme run of Peppery goes in?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
a little meme run. Okay, for sure, I'm down. Dude, some of the best memes on UFO Twitter.
We don't have a meme intro yet, but
I'm down to make that a second, bro, because there's some good memers out there, and that's like culture too. You know what I mean?
Dude, I should have played this clip before the UFO clip. I'm gonna play it now, just while you find that. All right?
Okay.
Two in a row is kind of too much, but yeah,
nice.
Let us know in the chat if you like that intro. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you guys saw this one too. This is the technical difficulties banner we got. So for like, if Shane never says a bad word he's not supposed to say or something like that, we just go. LOL.
That's the best one, except for the "We're Lost" one. The new where we don't know what's happening.
All right, so let's just do a little. Yeah, I mean, we're here, we're live. We'll do it live. Let's do a little Pepper. Well, okay. First off, we got to get the name right. Peppery goes in, right?
Right.
Is that how you would say this?
I think that was a really good try. And we're gonna keep it. Yep, we're gonna keep it. What you said, because I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Or we can just call him Pepper. What do you think?
Yeah, Pepper for sure. So here's one of his first memes that I saw. I mean, there might be cussing in here. I don't know. We'll see.
Again, have they now provided you with that MFR? And if so, provide documentary evidence that you received it. And it's not that challenging. It's the same with Rogan. It's the same with Friedman. It's the same with Sean Ryan. If they've invited you on the show and people have serious concerns about your credibility and legitimacy, then back it up with some receipts, my friend.
Yeah, okay. So I guess I'm the man of the hour here. So let's start with the Keemstar Skyfire News stuff. I have nothing against them, and I think that what they're reporting on is just relevant news, like Keemstar has said. I think that the people that are trying to say that they're losing credibility is super hypocritical, because these are the same people that are making total bullshit stuff up about me, and you got to hold yourselves to that same standard. Don't like concern troll or whatever about claiming that Skyfire is going to lose credibility. Who the hell cares? I have nothing against
I didn't say they're going to lose credibility, dude.
Yo, take it easy. Take it easy.
Can you ever say anything without manipulating the line? What did I say about you? That's wow.
Let's let Ashton go. Let's let him have his time. And then
if you're gonna like have an emotional meltdown, can you just drop down?
Yeah, you accuse everybody of the same shit, dude.
I literally don't lie at all about anything, and I've lied about nothing. You guys are wrong about literally everything, and you're gonna continue to be wrong, and I'm gonna continue to drop L's on you because apparently you can't give up. Now, yes, I talked to Joe Rogan. I decided to show the Skyfire News people the DMs. I'm not gonna post it publicly because I didn't want exactly
Oh, fun times. I think we definitely got a little bit of copyright strike on the music, especially at the end, but that was hella fun. Let's see what else we're working with here. Also, shout out to Local 556 and Grant and Ashton.
Oh, shout out to the whole gang, dude. The whole gang. You know what I mean? Y'all are dope. Y'all are dope. These little like spats and shit are fun.
Where's that? Oh, here, this one's funny, I think.
You know what, man? You've been
Oh,
muted.
actually, no, that's like the whole thing. Maybe we'll come back to this later.
All right.
Yeah, maybe we will. Once we have a little meme section ready to go and whatnot, we'll go ahead and do that.
The meme section's fire, and we might have to do a copyright strike kind of like view on that one, a little preview just to get going. But
yeah, but
that was
out
fire. Shout out to Pepper.
Goes
dude.
in.
Shout out to Pepper.
All right, so I guess back to the normal broadcasting for sure. Intro music is Flames.
Thank you,
Shouts
Pizza
out
Slayer.
Pizza Slayer.
Thank you. People saying in the chat that Eddie Murphy is an alien, and that's fine. We'll get to, maybe.
Oh shoot, Lou Elizondo in our YouTube chat is saying he might call in.
That would be fantastic, Lou. Lou, bring it in, dude.
Come on in, bro.
God dang, everybody out there, let everyone know. All right, we have a Lou Elizondo, possibly impersonator, coming through.
Shouts out to all the haters in chat too.
Oh, big shout out to the haters in the chat. Big shout out.
Okay, so what's next, Tuba?
Oh, you know what I think we should do? I want to, if we can, because I think we have a little bit of time before we roll into the juicy stuff. I want to play a clip from last week that I thought was super fire. It even found its way into Klaus's feed, right? It's the Black Keys, the drummer from the Black Keys, talking about
friend of the show.
Klaus, friend of the show. Go follow and listen to Patterns Tell Stories, because they really do. And they got a good show over there. So this clip here, again, the Black Keys drummer, he explains an interaction with Tom DeLonge that's kind of wild. All right, so here we go.
They're cloaked. There's that.
Whoops.
The whole UAP thing. Yeah, it's been boggling my mind. I mean, I've been into it since I was a little kid, but you know, that one time, right after we were on the show the first time, I met Tom DeLonge, and from Blink 182. He came to one of our shows in Denver. He was so cool, and I was like, "What's up?" And it was right after that first kind of pill-shaped thing had like officially been acknowledged by the Navy, and I was asking him about that because he was like associated with that video, And yeah, he's put me in a huge existential crisis right before we had to go play in front of like 12,000 people. He was like, they're listening to everything. They're cloaked. There's thousands of UFOs. Every single piece of text that gets sent is analyzed to create AI. The AI models, this is 2019, it's like the AI models they have would blow your mind. He's like, it's something so profound is going to change the world forever in about 90 days. This was October like 3rd, 2019. And it was like, you know, COVID was like, he's like, I can't tell you what, but it's going to change everything. It's going to be so fucked up.
Tom DeLonge knew about COVID.
I don't know, dude. He told me that the world was going to be profoundly changed forever in a way that no one could understand in about 90 days. And I was like, dude, the guy's really out there. And then, like, dude, it was like, what the fuck?
Very interesting.
You had to go on stage.
Yeah, well, dude, totally freaking.
I know Rogan when it comes to DMCA stuff is like on it. Let's just finish this clip out now though.
Out, and then like basically everything he told me has been true. Yeah,
That's what's weird.
The AI, the everything, all the videos from the flying saucers or whatever.
So what do you think about that, Tuba?
Well, I think that it speaks to Tom DeLonge being on the inside of a lot of stuff. It speaks to his kind of knowledge, if he was able to kind of predict these things. And you know, I know 6 months isn't that big of a, or 90 days or whatever isn't that big of a leap, but he has government inside sources for all kinds of stuff. You know, those guys knew a lot of things. So I guess what we can ascertain is either Tom DeLonge has recently got a biology degree or something, right? Or his connections to these government, like, I don't want to say assets, but government figures, CIA figures. We got Jim Simivan, Chris Mellon. His connection to that allowed for a information flow, at least when it came down to possibly a government shutdown or a world shutdown for COVID, right? But also about, you know, some of this alien stuff that was popping off. So I think it speaks to his credibility as far as people are telling him things.
You think it was kind of open-ended though? You think he really meant COVID when he was talking to this dude?
Okay, so either he meant COVID, right, which fits the bill of what he described, or he was talking about something that didn't come true. So I think we all know that Tom might have a reputation for predicting some things, or maybe trying to deliver things. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't really land as far as like To the Stars Academy, or now To the Stars Entertainment. Like, I don't know. I think he likes to drop little hints too. He's very cryptic. I mean, do you want to talk about that? I mean, what, I don't know. Should we?
They love their little drops. Yeah, go for it. I'm just gonna try and find this thing too. Arthur, a friend of the show, who also has like a little show that he does. Maybe we'll link it if we remember after. He was pointing out that like over half of the TTSA board are like defense people. So I mean, not defense people. I mean, what's the word I'm looking up? Like immunology type people.
Mm-hmm.
So
the cryptic posts, the cryptic statements, right? Those are designed to hype people up, right? I mean, there's a fair amount. We call
honestly,
like,
bro, you have to do it low key in your own way. Bro.
But I'm not a government official. I don't know anything. No one's ever told me anything. Like I don't want your information. You know what I mean? Like, I hear stuff, I talk about it, but like I don't have like
a segment called like roasting Tupacabra's Twitter.
Dude, we should
just like look at you.
Let's do it. Like, oh, they got cryptic posts. You just go to mine, and it's like, okay, that's chat. And if you guys want to have that as a segment, just type 1 in the chat. Let us know, because I think we're gonna have to install that. But yeah, the cryptic nature stuff coming from like Lou is so different, or these guys are so different. It's almost like they want the mystery. They're like capitalizing on it, not necessarily like monetarily, but at least with the momentum they're gaining, right, for their narrative.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we play this too real quick? And that's the beauty of this, right? Just being able to bounce around. But I don't know, I get it. And you know, when I went on Jesse Michael's show, I made a point to like I made a point of being like, I never want to be the person that's like sitting on some info that's like on a show being like, yo, I can't tell you that.
Right.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know, dude. I kind of like, as much as it's like, yeah, I don't, that's almost kind of like the easy answer, right? Because like some of these people, like, for example, who are about to watch right now, Ross Coulthart, right? friend of the show,
friend of the show.
he got low key roasted like the other day by a former congressman about this very thing we're talking about. Like, oh, if only you knew what I knew, man. So let's watch this real quick.
I was walking down a street in Washington and I was looking around at the people around me and thinking, my God, you people don't know what I know. And I'd just come away from an incredible conversation with a staffer in the Congress who was telling me what they knew was going on. And it's revelations of direct first-hand witness evidence of a retrieval program and a reverse engineering program inside the United States, mainly run by private aerospace companies, but also overseen by a very small group of gatekeepers in the defense and intelligence community.
See, this clip was made for Shane. This
Dude,
clip
it was. It was.
I think he said he has an earache, so everyone just sent some positive evolution to the universe for Shane in his little ear. I do know that he washed his rabbit today, so that's cool. That's what's up.
Steve.
But yeah, back to this whole like breadcrumb. I don't know, because I also could imagine like if somebody did tell you some really crazy stuff, like wanting to tell people. Like I would imagine with Ross, there's at least a little bit of an internal dilemma, right? Like, although this clip he kind of did come off a little like, you don't know what I know, but I feel like a lot of this stuff, like he does get stuff out. You know what I mean? But I do also get the point of like, bro, why are you talking about this? Like, show me, show, not tell, or whatever.
If you position yourself in that in between, like gate between the information and the known and the unknown, right? And you present it like, oh, if you only knew what I knew, which we hear all the time in this community. I think it's one of the bad parts about the community, right? Like, if you only knew what I knew, if you could, you know, like if I could only tell you what I've seen, what I know to be true. And that doesn't help anybody. I got to be honest. What it does is it helps your celebrity status. This is my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this in the chat. I think it increases your celebrity status. It increases the need for the public to come to you because you basically said, I know what you need to know. I know what you want to know. And so you got to follow me. You got to like listen to me. You got to let me drip it out as I can. You got to let me feed it to you as slow as I need to. So just keep coming to me, keep listening, and then I'll be able to slowly tell you what I know, or at least confirm or deny when the information comes from another source. And I just think that's not. I don't know. Like I think that Ross Coulthard's an interesting guy. I think he means well. I know he's got a lot of critics. I'm not one of them. But when it comes down to that statement, that's I will critique that. I will be honest about that. It kind of sucks, and I'm glad he's getting roasted for it because that vibe is just so holier than thou. So like it's like the vibe of the government.
Yeah, people are making this point, right? Like, how are you going to be roasting gatekeepers while being a gatekeeper?
Yes.
I mean, okay, it would kind of be badass, right? Like if Ross Coulthard said something that like led to him like getting arrested or something. You know what I mean? I mean, the first person to actually do that, I feel like is going to have like some major credibility and clout in this field, probably for like 50, 60 years or something. But I'm not saying he should do it. I mean, I'm not doing it, right? I literally said on a show, like, I want to be the farthest away from that thing as possible.
You got to read the crowd, read the room. And right now it looks like the room was decided, right? Not this one, but at least the internet. Like that was a little too far. But what do you think gave him that confidence? He's a very well-known guy. He's not the first. He's not a noob when it comes down to being in the public eye.
Well, yeah, let's listen to it again. It's only 30 seconds. Let's watch it again.
Run it back.
Down a street in Washington, and I was looking around at the people around me and thinking, my God, you people don't know what I know. And I'd just come away from an incredible conversation with a staffer in the Congress who was telling me what they knew was going on. And it's revelations of direct first-hand witness evidence of a retrieval program and a reverse engineering program inside the United States, mainly run by private aerospace companies, but also overseen by a very small group of gatekeepers in the defense and intelligence community. I was walking down a street in Washington.
I mean, okay, let's look at, I mean, we didn't talk about this yet either too, right? Like that thing he actually said is pretty interesting, that staffers within Senate know for sure where crash retrievals are. Like that's kind of huge. And also, this is kind of in that weird post-Arrow report little time period where you see like a lot of what's the word, like puffing of your chest. It feels like almost like Lou, right? Like his tweets of like the storm is coming and like this kind of stuff like that after the Arrow report, or even maybe we'll get into this Bob Jacobs clips too, where everyone's just kind of like pissed off and kind of wanting the next thing to happen in whatever this saga is that we're witnessing unfold. So I don't know.
No, I totally understand that.
I would imagine that's going to lead to something if he said that out loud, because I'm sure Ross Coulthart in the position he is, and like, you know, people love to crap on him all the time, but he did break the Grush story, which is huge. Whether you think Grush is a liar or whatever, or useful idiot, like he did break it. So you know what I mean. I would imagine he's sitting on a bunch of things, right? You know what I mean, that he isn't always having some wine and talking to Project Unity about. So the fact that he did say this publicly on his show, I would imagine he's probably talking with other people, right, who are talking about this exact same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's almost too good to be true, though. I'll believe it when I see it, Ross. That's my vibe.
I got the shovel ready, Ross. You tell me when, you tell me where. It's gonna be like Holes, the movie, Shia LaBeouf. And we'll just get all of you for Twitter just digging. All right.
It's not a bad idea. You know, everybody grab a shovel, dude. We're gonna get to the bottom of this.
Holes was disclosure. Mr. Fun Guy says hashtag too soon.
Wait, what's too soon?
I don't know.
Well, that's never a good thing, dude. yeah. I think Ross might have put his foot in his mouth here on this one, because we don't have a delivery date on this stuff, and I don't really like the idea of people just walking around knowing where a UFO crash is and just waiting for the next guy to kind of talk about it, dude. No way.
Yeah. All right,
Give
so
up the name or shut up, says Denver Riggleman. That might be the vibe.
Give up the name or shut up. Yep, Denver Riggleman, who's a former congressman. You know what I mean? So there's that.
All right. We got an interesting interview with Daniel Sheehan.
Should we get into that? So maybe too, let's just show the little image of his upcoming rally he's got, right? And that might be a good jumping off point, because we are the news, right? We are Skyfire News. We're keeping you all up to date on everything in UFO culture and whatnot. So we got this rally coming up. Let me share my screen again.
Now, this is a UFO, kind of a UFO-centered rally, right? About Chuck Schumer. Okay, here we go.
So this is actually coming up pretty quickly here. This is on Thursday, I believe, the 21st, 12 to 2 p.m. Twitter chat and YouTube chat. Is anyone in New York? And answer this, actually. Imagine you lived in New York. Imagine this was in your city. Would you go to this? Would you show up? Tupa, would you show up if this was in Portland?
Yes, absolutely. Number one, I would show up there because if it was in Portland, it'd be an amazing opportunity to cover the news, right? So
yeah.
I'm in the mix. I'm gonna be over there. You remember I called them all, right?
You called them all.
I called them all.
That's how you got on Skyfire News, right? Like,
I set the new standard for UFO research and investigation. Just call them all. So with this one, I would definitely go and film it. I would definitely want to go and see what it was about. If I wasn't interested in UFO culture and news and by my own self and, you know, doing that thing, would I go and check this out? I mean, the Chuck Schumer photograph isn't doing me any favors for me wanting to go. Like, I need to see like a UFO on the thing. That's me, though. You know, I want to see like a fist in the air. I want to see, you know, so the flyer's not pulling me. But
this definitely has Danny Sheehan all over the flyer, like in a good way, right? Because he totally gives me like
boomer
hippie vibes in a way, and like the color scheme, the font choice, right? There's some like 1967 like free love.
You know who I think's fingerprints are all over this?
I'll
let you guess.
Uplifting tweets.
That's the one. Bing, bang, boom. We don't have a
yeah, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Oh, nice. There you go. Did you do that? Because I think Lee Reviews has that exact same thing.
Oh, that's
that's funny. But yeah, so I mean, Please join us for the first disclosure rally in New York City to thank Senator Chuck Schumer. Blah blah blah. I think we know a few people out there. Estimate of the situation. J. Christopher King. I think Leslie Keene. Right. I'm sure those people will probably show up.
Yeah, there's a lot of East Coasters, right? A lot of nor'easters. Like, what are the biggest cities where you find these people are participating in UFO Twitter, and a lot of these UFO activism seems to be centered there. Like it's almost like the hub or the headquarters of UAP activism.
Yeah. So I mean, this is cool. I don't know if you guys know. I made a video about Operation Right to Know in the 90s, which was like the protest that happened in front of the White House and whatnot. And it's really cool. I got to like interview two people who were around at the time, Mike Jameson and Ed Komerick, both of whom are on Twitter now. And it's pretty cool to see them. They're like all stoked about this, so that's cool. Definitely, if I was in New York City, I would definitely try and go film it probably. And yeah, this whole the thank you energy is kind of interesting, right? Because a few months back, they had one at who's that one congressman that they all hate now? Mike Turner. Remember they had like a little rally outside of Mike Turner's house. I definitely am a fan of the thank you protest more so than the like let's go to a politician's house where like their family sleeps.
I disavow that.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
Yeah, and I think it's just best for the movement. So that's cool. Yeah. I like that. They could have easily been like, let's go back to Mike Turner's house. Let's go to Mike Turner's kids' school. And they're doing like a thank you thing. That's cool. I wonder if it'll get any press coverage. I mean, New York Post, right? Stephen Greenstreet might be there. That'll be cool.
Green Street, I would totally imagine being there. Enigma Labs, I would think would kind of cover that.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? They're out there. So we I think we have a lot of opportunities or a lot of reason to expect that there's going to be some good coverage of this, right? And in reality too, for the disclosure process, the people, the activists and stuff, getting quality camera teams out there to film these events and kind of showing the public what it's all about, I think is key. And if you guys don't have that out there, you guys definitely should, because Skyfire News will be covering this stuff. And people need to see it, like kind of presented in a rational way. And I think that a rally like this is much better than showing up at someone's doorstep or flooding their Twitter account. You know what I mean? Like I saw some responses from UFO Twitter on Mike Turner's feed, and it was wild. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. All right. We got a super chat from UFO Intros, friend of the show, who has a Twitter account where most of their time they're interviewing experiencers and whatnot. That's pretty interesting. They do have a journalism degree. It says, Mr. Fungi's buttermilk brings all the Isaiahs to the yard, and they're like, it's superior to thine. Very cool. And then, yeah, we do have our hater in the YouTube chat, Figu. Thank you for being here, bro. Every comment, every engagement helps. So lay off Alien Girl a little bit. Just keep on roasting Tupa and me.
Yeah, we're here for it.
Okay, what's our next thing?
We got this clip of the government kind of versus private disclosure with Danny Sheehan. That was our little intro to Danny Sheehan. Let's get into that clip.
Oh, nice. You did it like that, Tufa. Nice.
Yeah, no, we're gonna take, guys. If you super chat us, we're getting it in on the screen, right? It's not gonna look like it traditionally does, but we're taking the time to make that happen. We really appreciate it. UFO Intros, thank you for the shout out.
Also, we have like 200 people watching on Twitter, so that's cool.
Oh, that's wild. Hell yeah.
All right, now it says 428. What the hell? All right, so let's continue then.
Here we go. Danny Sheehan, and this is
would be a reasonable chance that some. Where do you think the best chance?
Can we give this guy's show a little plug real fast?
Yes. Unraveling the Universe. That's Ben. I've been on their show. Very cool guy. He lives in Paris, I believe. He's from the UK. I'd say best mustache in the field. Right?
I mean, yeah.
Does anyone else even come to mind?
No, Tom Selleck could stand next to this man and I would not see him because I'm looking at this guy's mustache. So I think none. No mustache comes to mind.
No, he's a cool guy. I like him a lot. He's not really into, right? He's into this like we all are, but he definitely likes to dive into like the consciousness side of things. You know what I mean? And he's been having some pretty solid interviews lately. Yeah, dude. Everyone should definitely go check him out. Yeah, we should definitely probably get in the habit, right, of like linking everything we talk about under our show. So,
oh yeah, that's a good call. Okay, cool. Thank you. Chat is helping us out, make the show better. We really appreciate it, guys. Let's play the clip. Here we go.
Where do you think the best chance of disclosure would come from? Do you think it would come from government, or do you think there would be a reasonable chance that some individual or one or two companies could give us a better chance for disclosure than relying on the federal government themselves?
No, I think that there has to be a combination of pursuing every single avenue you can. Obviously, we're trying to get people from inside the aerospace industry that know about this to come forward and talk about it. But we've adopted the tactic of having this pass through the Senate Intelligence Committee, because in the constitutional juridical framework that we have in our democracy, this is how we've set it up, is to be able to have these people be able to vet this information in light of the fact that we have this entire field of knowledge of national security information. So that we want to bring all this information to the Senate and House Intelligence Committees and have them take a look at this. But we do need to have some outside experts take a look at this to advocate on behalf of the public interest. But that's the job of the elected representatives in our representative democracy. So that's why we're assuming that's the avenue through which is the best avenue through which to have this come forward. But at the same time, we're openly advocating that every single citizen reach out to try to establish as best they can direct communication with extraterrestrial beings as citizen diplomacy, just like we did back prior in the Cold War, reached out to establish direct communications with Soviet citizenry and our citizens, so they could exchange citizens and students and stuff like that, and get to realize that neither one of them are real boogeymen. So that what we want to do is we want to establish an entire program of citizen diplomacy, which is another major project of the New Paradigm Institute.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next clip too, because that's some good stuff. But he does, like I said,
What do you want to? What are your thoughts on what he just said there? I think that's interesting. Like, kind of like the idea of the people are in the right place. The right people are there. They're just not allowed to look at it. And if they were, then they would be the best conduit for this information to come out. That's an interesting statement.
Yeah, and also maybe just for people watching who might not know, Danny Sheehan has been kind of around the block for a minute, since like at least the 70s, in some kind of UFO consciousness kind of thing. He was the lawyer for like the Stephen Greer stuff in the 90s, and then he kind of did a little flip where he's now like the lawyer for Lou Elizondo. We had Michael Mazzola in a space a few weeks back, director of Stephen Greer's documentaries. Hopefully we'll get him on the show soon. It was quite a spicy space. I mean, honestly, the space wasn't that spicy, but the stuff following the space was like weird. But he framed it because like this was always kind of one of those weird things where if you look at it, there's kind of actually there's a string of people that Elizondo and you could say like swooped from Greer, right? So like Tom DeLonge, maybe you could throw Gary Nolan in that mix.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a good.
Maybe you could throw Danny Sheehan in that mix.
Yep, that's a statement.
And is Kent is Kent. We'll send Kent the live chat right now. Kent, if you have a video, come on and be the panelist. They only want their people talking. Oh, is he talking about Danny Sheehan? Okay, I thought he was roasting us. But Kent, honestly, bro, if you want to come in, if you have a video, we're down. We don't have a guest today.
Should we put the StreamYard clip in the comments?
Maybe after a little bit, for sure.
Okay, yeah, we'll get through the news, guys, and then we'll open this up. We love the Twitter Spaces crowd popping in here. We're gonna try to like do our best to continue that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but Michael Mazzola, to remind you guys, who directed Stephen Greer's documentaries, is like recent 3 or something like that. He was saying, because we were like, "What's up with this Sheehan thing? Like, how does somebody go from being like Greer's lawyer, appearing in a documentary with Greer, where Greer was basically like calling out the whole Felon 5 thing and the disinfo angle of the TTSA crowd, to going to being to being Elizondo's lawyer?" And he had said he was kind of trying to do it as like a unity kind of thing, like a bridge building. I was like, oh, okay, I could respect that. That's cool, right? Because doesn't everyone want to see Lou Elizondo and Stephen Greer like talking about UFOs or like throwing water at each other across the table or something? You want to see them interact. So that's who Danny Sheehan is. And I would say recently, actually, and we're going to get into a clip about this too, where he talks about Jay Stratton and Travis Taylor. But a few months back, maybe October, November, he kind of started going on the circuit again and it was pretty vocal. Oh, that's what it was. It was the lead up to the Schumer Rounds Act, right? And that makes sense. So he's doing the Schumer thing. He's all in the politics of it. He launched this new foundation that has a headquarters in DC, so they're like within walking distance of all these politicians. And yeah, in the wake to the Schumer's Rounds Act, which was like part of the NDAA, like every year on the NDAA, they have some kind of UFO legislation, right? And that was the one for this year. People were all hyped on it. I think Grush helped write part of it. He talked about it on Rogan. So he was pretty vocal then, and then again recently, since this Arrow report came out, it sounds like he's been kind of really out there. You know what I mean? Being vocal, being on a bunch of podcasts and whatnot. So that's just kind of who Daniel Sheehan is and why people listen to him. He's a lawyer. Some people will say, especially in the skeptic camp, that he's just like crazy hippie. What's the word? What's that word? Oh, new age. There you go. New age kind of dude. Definitely has some of the best hair. In ufology for sure. So I was hoping to get Larry in here too, right? Another white main person. But yeah, let's get into this the next Sheehan clip, I guess.
Let's do it.
Do you have it on your end, or do you want me to pull it up from
Twitter? Oh, I got it right here. Let's do it.
And stuff like that, and get
for their own profit. Yeah. I wonder, like, where do you think the best chance of disclosure would come from? Do you think it would come from government, or do you think there could be, I'm not saying all private companies, I know that the vast majority are driven purely for their own profit, as you said, to line their pockets. Do you think there would be a reasonable chance that some individual or one or two companies could give us a better chance for disclosure than relying on the federal government themselves?
No, I think that there has to be a combination of pursuing every single avenue you can. Obviously, we're trying to get people from inside the aerospace industry that know about this to come forward and talk about it. But we've adopted the tactic of having this pass through the Senate Intelligence Committee, because in the constitutional juridical framework that we have in our democracy, this is how we've set it up, is to be able to have these people be able to vet this information in light of the fact that we have this entire field of knowledge of national security information. So that we want to bring all this information to the Senate and House Intelligence Committees and have them take a look at this. But we do need to have some outside experts take a look at this to advocate on behalf of the public interest. But that's the job of the elected representatives in our representative democracy. So that's why we're assuming that's the avenue through which is the best avenue through which to have this come forward. But at the same time, we're openly advocating that every single citizen reach out to try to establish as best they can direct communication with extraterrestrial beings as citizen diplomacy, just like we did back prior in the Cold War, reached out to establish direct communications with Soviet citizenry and our citizens, so they could exchange citizens and students and stuff like that, and get to realize that neither one of them are real boogeymen. So that what we want to do is we want to establish an entire program of citizen diplomacy, which is another major project of the New Paradigm Institute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Was that the clip at the beginning where he talks about Stratton, or no? Is that a different clip?
Well, it could have been a little different one. Everybody remember to like the space.
Yeah.
Or sorry,
I wonder, like, where do you think the best chance of disclosure?
Okay. Yeah. That's the government first private one. I think that was a different one than we just played, but
I hope so.
I think we might have just played the same clip.
I hope so.
I'm going to pull up the other ones from that
Did
interview.
Travis Taylor and Jay Stratton are working against UFO disclosure. Like, where are you on?
Start it over one more time. So yeah, this is back to what I was talking about, where in the weeks, and this was a huge.
Do you still believe that Travis Taylor
kind of thing in the ufology quote unquote disclosure movement? Huge development was. Because remember, like I said, this dude is Lou Elizondo's lawyer, and he reaffirms it in this interview. I don't think we cover it, but he does. And he basically came out in like October, November, and accused Jay Stratton and Travis Taylor, both members of the UAPTF. So they're both like basically equivalent to what Grush did, right? Grush was just a member of the UAPTF, of being disinfo agents, and of their new company, Radiance Technologies. Basically being one, he accused them of working on reverse engineering technology, and two, of basically like being paid off. I don't think he says that phrasing in this statement, but back in November he had said that they were paid off, and like that's a huge story. I feel like people kind of really just like glossed over it, but that's like civil war in like the disclosure camp, like all the way up at the top, right? Like, and to put it into to contextualize it, Jay Stratton was Lou Elizondo's boss, quote unquote, at OSAP ATIP or whatever. And the day of the hearing, when Grush testified, they put out a joint statement together, like, "This is all we've worked for. We're so proud." Blah 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 blah. So for to go from the relationship of like, "That's my boss, that's my boy, I got his back. We're hyped. We conquered the cover up partially today," to a few months later having his lawyer publicly go out there and call him a disinfo agent. And we know what that means too, right? You're not just saying that, right? When you have somebody like Daniel Sheehan go out and publicly say that, you're telling the whole like little disclosure mob, right, that like this person is like fair game now, right? So that just kind of goes to show you how weird some of this disclosure stuff can be. And who knows, maybe he's telling the truth. Maybe they did get paid out by Lockheed Martin some like insane amount of money and now they're part of the cover up. But I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
really
that could.
see it that way. I don't really see it that way. And if anything, it kind of goes to show like, what are we really doing here, right? If we're gonna throw those accusations around at people and unleash the mob on people, you know what I mean? What's going on here? But let's watch the clip.
Do you still believe that Travis Taylor and Jay Stratton are working against UFO disclosure? Like, where are you on this?
Once they left the U.S. government employment and became employed by Radiance Technology, they have actively engaged in meeting with members of Congress to persuade them to vote against the bill. And that I assume they still are. One of their concern was the eminent domain, which is the concern of the private aerospace industry to make personal profit out of the intellectual property rights to the technology. Once you shift your mission, you have a different mission than trying to just get as much disclosure as you can because you've been hired to advocate the interests of another entity. And I'm assuming that they're going to continue to oppose that aspect of the bill.
Ken Reynolds in the Twitter chat has a great point. Friend of the show, Kent Reynolds. The best way to shut people up is to employ them. So maybe that's a little point towards that. But like I said, and if you, that clip you just watched, right? He was talking about the eminent domain, which has kind of become this like huge talking point within this Schumer rounds bill that that part was nixed. Fortunately, he didn't say this time around that like they're taking payouts from like Lockheed Martin, which he's kind of said before. But yeah, very weird in my opinion, this like weird schism. Because like I said, like at the Grush congressional hearing with Fravor and Graves, Stratton and Lou Elizondo were like this. So to have his lawyer come out and publicly like still right like months later say that they're actively working against the cover up because you know what, let's watch it one more time. Was it this mystery clip?
We got a chat in here. I mean, this is from Megan. She says Greer told Sheehan if he was going to represent Lou, then he needed to stop representing Greer's company. And then I guess, you know, the cards fell where they fell and Sheehan kept representing Lou. That's interesting.
That's what I'm saying, bro. People want to roast Keem, right, for drama, which I mean, he is dramatic, right? But
yes,
there's plenty of that here within this field already. Like
it's top down drama.
It's top down drama. Yeah, Greer told, "I'm calling you a terrorist. I'm calling
the terrorist thing is like,
the storm is coming.
Yeah.
I'm unleashing the storm on you."
Yeah,
it's I wonder. This is what I always wonder. I wonder if like the UFO nerd in like the 90s, like how did you envision quote unquote disclosure and like these kind of weird little things? Like, is this how you pictured it? Did you picture Greer beefing with having some like Helena of Troy situation with Daniel Sheehan being like the hot girl that like these two camps are like having a war over? You know what I mean?
Never.
No. All right. Well, there was another clip too that I might as well just watch. Because like I said, since this whole Arrow report, which we covered last time too, and it's kind of been the talk of the town, Sheehan has been just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this interesting clip about a deathbed confession of a Blue Book person, which I had never heard before.
Well, when you say everywhere, you're talking about like a podcast tour. Like he's done a lot of interviews.
Yeah, and I would say even before, right before October-ish, we didn't really hear from him that much. Now he's on like 30 podcasts in a month. He's got his he's breaking ground on a new building in DC.
Shout out to Danny Jones. That was one of the best interviews of Sheehan. I think that's online right now. Danny Jones, a friend of the show. Just, I don't know. It's really good stuff. But he's dipping into everything now. He's got like full PR swing. Do you think it's a hype at all for Elizondo's book? I mean, is the timing of that a little strange?
My gut tells me it's more to do, maybe. My gut tells me he's like really into the legislative side of things. And I mean, they did need people rallying. Like in a way, Grush on Rogan, I think, was them kind of rallying around the Schumer amendment and whatnot. If you listen to like a lot of the stuff he said was about that, and it was kind of like in the weeks leading up to it. I think he's more concerned with the legislation than the book, but I'm sure the book is just like an added bonus. So here's another clip from the Unraveling the Universe interview with Danny Sheehan. Like I said, everyone go follow Ben, go watch all his interviews, go upvote them. Everyone go like this stream, by the way. Like this stream on YouTube and on Twitter.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe, guys.
500 viewers. I don't know if it's like concurrent viewers. It might just be adding like people who hop in and hop out. But either way, 500 on Twitter. Let's go. Okay.
No way. Good to see you guys over on X, man. I don't know. X is blowing up, so I'm really happy that we were able to do this.
Assigned deploy.
Hold up. Is this?
Is it the third time we're gonna play the same clip?
No. I had it ready to go.
Cool.
Remove from stage. Boom.
That mustache is hypnotizing, bro.
Is that what happened? You just fell too hard for the mustache?
I think so. How
All right, I got it. Ready?
Thank God. Here we go.
Been assigned, deployed officially from the United States Army. He was like a clerk typist specialist, and he was assigned to be kind of an administrator at Project Blue Book in the classified section. That dealt only with those some 700 or so sightings that they were completely unable to explain away as swamp gas or a mistaken flock of birds or something. And he got to be very close with the fellow who was the commander of the operation. And he told me in detail about how the commander had been assigned or was going to go to Area 51 to do an inspection there. And he asked Albert to come with him as in the kind of administrative aid. And so he went with him. They went to Area 51. Then they went to S4. They went to S4, and he said that he actually went down in below ground to the facility at S4, and he actually saw a UFO vehicle there, hovering, just being held in this facility.
How did he describe the craft? Sorry.
He didn't. I didn't press him on it. He just said it was clearly UFO, and it was just hovering, just in this some kind of a warehouse space kind of area. And he said that then they went, and his commander was actually going to be meeting face to face with a live ET person, extraterrestrial biological entity, an EB they called him, and he went with his commander, and he could see the extraterrestrial being who was like 6 feet tall. Wasn't one of these little 3.5 foot guys. It was like a 6 foot tall guy, with the big head and the big almond black eyes, and they had him in a jumpsuit. And he was in this room. They had this two-way glass on it, so he could see. It was like a mirror to them inside the room, but he could see through it, and he didn't want to get near it. He said he thought it was demonic. It turns out that Albert is kind of this fundamentalist Christian, and he thought it was demonic, and he didn't want to go near it. But his commander went in and actually was engaged in a telepathic kind of interview with this being. and Albert stayed outside. And the staff guys that were there that attending to this being told him that they had conducted interviews with him over a period of time, and that they had these little 3x5 note cards with information on them about things that the being had talked to them or communicated with them about. And one of them was they asked him where he was from, and he said he was from another star system that was in our Milky Way galaxy. And he said that he was part of a unit that had people from different star systems that were in it, and that they were assigned to be going around inside the galaxy, checking up on planets where living life forms had started, and they were functioning, and that was what they did. And they had asked him apparently that, like, who was in charge of this? Who was in charge of this project? He said, well, your people is what you people would kind of refer to as God, but it's not like you think.
All right, Tupa, what do you think about that?
It's pretty out there. It's pretty out there. It borrows into mythology. You know what I mean? It reminds me a little bit of like Sarfati statements too. The idea of what this thing could be. Jesus.
And someone in chat said Sheehan is so full of BS, it's boring. No evidence, just stories. And I totally get that. But also at the same time, you do have to, it's like with all these people, right? I feel like when people want to crap on House Coulthard, they never want to acknowledge that, like, he did break the Grush story or whatnot. It's like Sheehan has been in the mix for some pretty crazy things, like Friend Center for Iran-Contra, which like has nothing to do with UFOs. I think he was like tangentially involved as a younger dude in like Watergate stuff.
Okay.
He was the Greer lawyer. But it is dude, it's a total valid point, right? This is like the field of trust me bros, right? And we just, as UFO Shane would say, we can't have that anymore,
We really can't. The people I think deserve a lot more. We deserve a lot more, having looked into this, research this for a long time. The trust me bro days are over. It's a lot of kind of old guard tactic too, right? Like that just seems to be the way that things got done back then. But things are just more immediate now. I wonder if it's passing.
But also, right? Let's say this did happen, which I think I would imagine he would be in a position, because this is his little, like, this is what he's been talking about a lot recently too, is apparently like during the Carter administration, he was somehow affiliated with that, and he was given access to some of these blue book files. So I mean, and this is kind of what we were talking about earlier, right? Like, let's say this story is true. Wouldn't you rather know it, or at least be able to critique it, than just have like Danny Sheehan die with it, and like we're never even allowed to like have an opinion of, is it true, is it not? Can we cross check this? You know what I mean?
No, that's a great point. I'd rather have heard it. I'd rather he shared it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like shaming people for sharing what they know or what they've been told probably isn't going to get us any more answers, and that's a lot of the reason why I think people are so protective over our so-called whistleblowers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Is that okay? Well, let's go. I think that's about it for the Sheehan stuff, right?
Yeah. That's all the mustache and cotton ball hair I can see. But those guys are fucking great. If you guys don't follow Ben, like Red said, go ahead and give him a follow. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Give us a like. This is episode 3. We're doing UFO news daily. You're getting the updates here delivered to you in video, which is our preference as well. So yeah, we have some other clips in the mix.
Yeah. And then we're probably, because we're trying to do like an hour and a half to like 2 hours. Yesterday was like 3 hours, but we'll run them as they go. I think we got left. Let's look what we got left. We're going to talk about this Morehouse thing, right? Because that caused a bunch of debate online today. And then we're probably going to do this Bob Jacobs clip. What do you want to do first, the Bob Jacobs clip or the Morehouse thing?
Morehouse, that one's spicy, dude. Let's get it. Let's dive into it. So here's the setup. David Morehouse was a guest on Danny Jones. This is the second time David Morehouse has been on, and he is I believe, retired CIA, DIA remote viewer. He was trained under the greats in the first Danny Jones interview, which you could find on his channel, Danny Jones Concrete Podcast. There's a rebrand though, so Danny Jones Podcast. Go watch it. He explains how he got involved in the program. He explains everything about remote viewing, how it's
Wasn't his
done.
claim to fame also, or not claim to fame, but like, wasn't he like the first one of those dudes to write a book or something like that?
I think he did. I forget what it was called.
It was called like Psychic Warrior or something like that. And I
Psychic
think
Warrior,
since
yeah.
then, like Joe McMoneagle and a bunch of these other ones, Ingo Swann, I think, have talked about it publicly. But apparently, and this is what he was saying in his interview today, that he was the first one to like disclose that. You know what I mean?
I don't really doubt that. You know what I mean? I think there's something to it. So yeah, retired remote viewer. And he had some interesting statement about Grush that I think we should dive into.
Yes. And first, real quick though, let's watch his Tamer one first, where he says that the program still runs today. And then we'll get into the spicy food fight.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it.
And this is from, like we said, Danny Jones podcast, actual friend of the show. Okay. And this is him. This is the guy we're talking about. This is
David Morehouse.
David Morehouse, who, like we said, was a DIA remote viewer. Yeah. And he's asked if it is there still a remote viewing program today.
So if you were to guess, you would say no, we don't have a current active remote viewing program going on today.
I think we do.
Oh, we do.
It's too much money and it's too much time, and it's as effective as many other intelligence collection methodologies. I do not for 1 second believe that it has been shut down and not ever used again. What I do believe is this. Once it was exposed in Psychic Warrior, once they knew that they weren't going to be able to stop that book, they launched their counter campaign, right? Which was then to minimize it, to divert disinformation, all this stuff coming out of the CIA talking about these things. And I say this all the time, the CIA is not the Central Information Agency. When the CIA is talking to the press about a project that is closing down, they're talking to the press about that and telling these stories and leaking these stories. They're doing it for a reason. It's damage control. Oh yeah, we did it. We spent 20 million on it. We did it for, 25 years or 30 years, but we're not doing it anymore. We found it to be of no value. Now we're going to declassify and release all of this based on the FOIA request. Yeah, they're releasing everything based on that FOIA request about a unit that they told you that they were closing down because that unit had been exposed. The CIA decide what would be released. So they were able then, by removing, redacting, omitting documents and allowing certain documents to paint a particular picture of the unit and the unit successes, to codify all of the announcements that it wasn't all that accurate and therefore we consider it of no value. That insulates and buffers the ongoing program, where I'm sure they probably called people in and they probably took it and put it into a LIMDIS, a top secret LIMDIS or a secret LIMDIS, where it's limited distribution, meaning they read them the Riot Act and read them onto a whole nother level of security classification with much more severe consequences. They learn that lesson often, that if they keep downgrading, the classification of something, it still goes from top secret to secret, and then it's secret but not really secret, and it just keeps going down, and they don't change the code names and they don't do other things. They leave people in the program for 15 years. All of this goes completely against counterintelligence strategies. It's foolish. So I'm sure that what they have done now is move that collection methodology and continue to use it, only much deeper and much more heavily secured. And the people that are there learning and who are serving in that capacity would never get away with what I got away with. They just won't next time. They learned that lesson. And I didn't do it to try to destroy the unit. I told the story because I believe that what I experienced there changed my life. So I'm pretty sure that it would still be going. It would be very foolish for them to end that.
All right, chat, Twitter chat, and YouTube chat. What do you guys think? Does the U.S. still have a remote viewing program? Put 1 for yes, 2 for no. Tupa, what do you think? Does the U.S. still have a remote viewing program?
Yeah, of course they do. When you look at the information they were able to gather and how they did it, of course they do. We're talking about one of the lowest cost, lowest risk abilities to gain information about valuable assets, right? About things that are completely unknown, lava tubes and Olympus Mons on Mars, right? Like anything you want, definitely a base somewhere. Now the return rate, the success rate for some of this information was as low as 8%, but 8% is pretty good when you look at the ways in which it was done. Get a guy like David Morehouse or someone else, like that's a skilled remote viewer, Joe McMoneagle, Ingo Swann, maybe to a certain extent, Yuri, right? You get him in the mix and you put him in a room and you ask him to concentrate. That the other way to get that information is espionage, spy stuff, getting people out there on boots on the ground, and that stuff is risky. So there's a lot of risk there. And even though they say that they shut down the remote viewing program, I failed to see that. I think one of the ways they could have done this, and I'd love your opinion on this, Red. I think one of the things that I might be seeing, or that might be forming in my mind as a theory, is the idea of them digitizing remote viewing and discovering how the mechanisms, how it works, and then having a computer or an AI do it as opposed to a human being. But that's what I think.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know about that. I think they definitely still probably have it. I think what he said too is probably pretty accurate, and I think that's like what they do. I mean, that's what they did with the UFO stuff, right? And in my last video that was like published, the science and UFO ones, there's the UFO subject, the ancient apocalypse subject, and the like remote viewing kind of weird sci stuff all kind of have like similar trajectories in terms of like American mainstream culture, and like in the same way that there was like a J. Allen Hynek on TV to tell you like UFOs are dumb, there was like also someone for like James Randi, right? And I feel like I'm probably gonna get roasted for this one, but I kind of think that dude was a plant.
Oh, I
Him
think
and
you're good there. That's a safe bet. I think
he was like part of the Navy,
Yes.
naval intelligence for years and stuff like that.
For
He also
for
had
those
some
who
weird
don't know,
blackmail stuff. Yeah, go
let's
for it.
catch real quick on who James Randi it was. R.I.P. James Randi. Like, essentially, he was famous for this one thing. I think is the most interesting part of the story. He was a magician, and he was in a traveling group of magicians. And this is from back in the day. He was an older guy when he passed away recently. So this is this is back in the
Oh, did he
70s.
die recently too?
Yeah, he passed away. So hearts in the chat for one of the best troll / debunkers / skeptics that's ever been out there doing it. But he did pull off some really cool things, and one of them was showing up to a tent church in the South while on tour as a traveling magician with a handful of other magicians. They just went and checked this place out, and what they saw, they were very convinced was being done through technology, and it was a preacher saying that he was being given and divining God's word and being able to call out audience members by name, identifying what their problems were, right, and then healing them on the spot or fixing their ailment or whatever else, right. And they were convinced that something was going on, so they showed back up. Randy did, and he showed back up with a tape recorder and a scanner. And what the scanner did is it scanned for radio signals, and sure enough, they found a signal. This was a preacher named Peter Popoff, and he was a healing preacher in the South. And he had an earpiece in that was hidden, and his wife was collecting prayer cards from individuals coming in, the churchgoers. They were writing their prayers on a card, putting in a box. That box was then transported to a private room where Peter Popoff's wife was, and she would be reading off the cards to Peter and finding the ones who would be the most theatrical for the thing. And so basically Peter Popoff was lying to these people, and he had their tape recorder. He went on Johnny Carson, James Randi did, and he played that tape, played it over the video of the guy who's supposedly healing someone. In this example, he had up an arthritic woman. He called her up and was like, "You're free, you're healed of arthritis and your mortgage or whatever." And she's like trying to move around and dance and feel the spirit, I guess. And you could just being manipulated like that, I think, is awful. And so James Randi's skepticism and tenacity, I think, is something to be admired to some degree. But then he set up a thing where he was ultimate skeptic supreme, and he was offering $1 million for anyone who could prove anything, right? And he had half of his talks, he would give a lot of talks, half of them were always about Uri Geller at SRI. I swear to God, if you go and you listen to a lot of his stuff, oh, we got a clip?
Well, I was just gonna put this on in the background, like,
okay,
while
cool.
you were talking about him, but keep talking about him, yeah.
So he references often Uri Geller and other people at SRI that these PhDs, these scientists were being fooled constantly by people that were coming in trying to prove psi-ability and all this other stuff. And he would be like, he'd be listening to their
some healthy debate, a little bit, huh?
It's spicy, bro. It's a spicy clip.
Yeah. Okay, so this is he's asked about David Grush on there we go. Boom. And just to remind you, this is David Morehouse, CIA DA remote viewer, on Danny Jones episode released today. And this is one of the more interesting parts that we in the UFO community were kind of talking about today.
What is your opinion on this David Grush fella?
The one everybody's calling a whistleblower?
Yes. And he's talking about, he just recently went to New York and did some talk at some penthouse for some billionaire, talking about how he saw a craft that looked like it was 40 feet from the outside. And as soon as you go inside the craft, it's as big as a football field. He's saying all kinds of crazy stuff. And there's off-planet beings.
The rise of the con, man. It's like people can say anything. First of all, he's not a whistleblower. Okay. I hate that when people start calling people that are doing what he's doing whistleblowing. He is a purveyor of hearsay, because, only a few intelligent interviewers and listening to him rant on about, I know that, we have captured alien craft. I know that we have alien bodies. And a few intelligent interviewers have said, have you seen these? Well, no. Then how do you know? Well, I have some colleagues who are trusted sources who do have personal knowledge of these things. And if they're telling me that, that's what who are these people? Well, I can't tell you that. Well, there you go. So now all you are is a hearsay peddler. You're standing up, expressing some degree of narcissistic, sociopathic tendency. Some might even say pathological. So you can get your face on a camera. You get this endearing public supporting you in what you're saying, but you have no proof, no evidence. And the fact that you claim somebody told you something, frankly, just doesn't pass the litmus test for us. And we have to be discerning about these things. Anybody can stand up today and say anything. And the number of people who will actually turn around and go, I think that's bullshit, is minimal, because everybody else wants to chime in on it, especially if you're part of the UFO community. It's
all right.
What is your
So there's a few interesting things about that. I'm ready to riff on it.
Hell yeah. That was
so one, I like Grush. Woo. I think Grush is
spicy take.
He was on the UAPTF, right? He could have easily not. He could have easily just chilled at home racing llamas with his wife. And and him coming out, it definitely helped. I mean, bro, imagine if no Grush was out, dude. This conversation would probably be dead, right? If we were all still trying to ride just like the Lou wave.
Yeah.
I feel like though this guy is kind of in a unique situation, right? Where, well, the other thing too that's hilarious, and I see Ashton in the YouTube chat, and he was making this point on Twitter and a bunch of other people where it's like, bro, like you're a remote viewer, like remote viewing is low key. Like I know we just gassed it up, like remote viewing is still pretty shoddy, not gonna lie. So it's like to be like a remote viewer and be like that dude's not a whistleblower. I guess in terms of whistleblower, people like want a whistleblower to like die, I think, or something like that, or like go to jail.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like necessarily the definition. We should actually figure out what the definition is. But I was going to say too, to this guy's point, he's kind of in a unique position, right? Where especially if this is true, where he was kind of the dude who whistle blew on Stargate, though it might have been through a book. I mean, he's allowed to say this more than I feel like you and I are. And also, what was I gonna say? Oh, it's kind of ironic, right? That he's like, you just want your face on the camera, da 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 da. And it's like, bro, you're on your face is on a camera right now saying this. I don't know.
Yeah.
To call Grusha and what, like, egotistical narcissist. What, it was, he used some pretty strong language. I don't know, man. I don't know.
He definitely has some feelings about this, right? He's probably been watching people for years come out and say stuff, right? So it sounds like he's definitely a little jaded when it comes down to it, right? So I wonder how much of his opinion was based on Grush specifically, or just, you know, his experience with this kind of repeated narrative, right? And that's worthwhile. Like, he's an old guy. He's been around the block, and he, like you said, he's not nobody. I say this as a Grush supporter myself. I'm a big fan of Grush. I think he's one of the nicest dudes out there for ufology. I don't think you could watch any of his interviews and come away with any other conclusion.
Like,
right?
at best, he's getting played.
Yeah. Or yes. I mean,
like at best, in terms of
worst, at worst,
at best for like the skeptical,
yeah.
pessimist take of Grush.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, the Jesse Michaels cosign means a lot. I mean, I like what Jesse's doing with American Alchemy. Like, he's got a lot of my respect, and he spent a lot of time with Grush, and so, you know, like, Jesse Michaels, friend of the show, right? So it's just like, yo, let's look at the people we know, and then kind of work our way out from there. And so I just want to give him the chance, because he looks like he deserves it, and getting this information out isn't easy. So go ahead.
I was gonna say, I do agree with this dude that, like, the whole general premise of, like, we have to be discerning about this stuff. Like, we really do, especially at this stage, dude. Like, we put up the wrong person, and this thing goes away for like 50, 60 years. That's why you see me harping against some of the things I harp against online, because, like, some of these flaws and some of these quote unquote heroes could really set this entire subject back like decades. If you know what I mean, if the right person pulls on the right string, like, and I mean, we hear the language, right? It was in Kirkpatrick's thing, like, these are UFO religious fanatics, like, blah, 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 blah. Don't give them ammo. I mean, Tupa, even in our little squats, how many times am I like, bro, just don't give them ammo?
Yes, dude. I mean, because these guys are working overtime on something. You know what I mean? It just really seems like it. They got a lot. I really think that and this, I guess, is more about psychology, right? Where people, when you see it with any case, like we were talking earlier about videos, we don't really rely on videos anymore. They're not really the thing that gets us going, but we can't deny that they're a tool to get people excited about this and keep it in the mix, right? Like, but at the same time, we know, because we've been burned so many times by the video, right? A video comes out, you look at it, you're like, cool, and then it comes out that it was, you know, as soon as a rumor gets spread that the video isn't real, as soon as someone said, oh, this is CGI, or I saw this being created in someone's garage, then our minds psychologically want to just use that to dismiss the problem. It's a problem to look at something moving in a way you've never seen. It's a problem for your brain. That, what do they call it? Ontological shock. Your brain would rather not deal with it. So, like, when we look at these people out there putting their lives on the line, putting their reputations on the line to get this word out.
Oh, hold up. Is Ashton backstage? Let's add Ashton to the mix.
Oh, hell yes.
What's up, Ashton?
Yo. What up, guys? Oh, you know it's about to get spicy in here. I couldn't avoid this one.
What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so you saw my reply, because honestly, like, my opinions are that, like, I am open-minded. I think that everybody should believe whatever they want to believe, right? But the thing I hate is hypocrisy, right? And I see so much of it in the UFO community. When I watched this clip, and I watched the other clips that he was posting, David Morehouse here, with respect to him, right? He's a CIA remote viewer. I believe what he says and what he thinks is he believes it to be true or what have you. But if you're going to come out there and you're going to go rag on David Grush, who testified under penalty of perjury to Congress, right, about what he knows, and whether or not it's firsthand or secondhand doesn't matter. He's telling you what he's heard and what he knows. And, you know, if he's lying, then he could potentially go to jail over it. And then you're going to come out and say, oh, yeah, and I have psychic powers and I can remote view Mars and all this other stuff. Like, that is the height of hypocrisy. You don't have any evidence to support any of that. There's no evidentiary support, physical evidence for remote viewing, right? So to come out there and say he's got no evidence, he's not really a whistleblower, and then come out and say this is ridiculous. And I think that this should be, you know, I want to put the UFO community on notice, right?
Oh, shoot.
If you are these people that are going to be, like, debunking other people's you know, concepts, videos, whatever, and then you're going to come out and have esoteric beliefs, like, get off your high horse. You know, like, that is just ridiculous to me.
Damn!
Good use of the clip there, right?
No, Tupa talks about this all the time, where it's like this community, bro. And I'm sure Ashton probably experienced a lot of this too. We're like people will be like, "Your theory is so dumb, so stupid. It's the worst thing ever." And then like their theory is like leprechauns and dino beavers like abducting people. You know what I mean?
Exactly, man. It's like, well, I mean, you can people just at least be chill to other people and whatever their beliefs are, even if you don't believe it, right? Like, I think that it's possible there might be psychic power stuff, but like, it doesn't have any like physical evidence to support it, right? It's not like there's some big like with like physics that will support it, right? Now, maybe the funny part is that the physics that would support it is probably the same physics that I'm talking about, stuff like unifying quantum and macro and stuff like that. But even then, you're not going to have hard evidence for it. So the other thing too, just to like, you know, throw this out there as well, I would bet, like, I haven't watched this whole thing, but I would bet there's like no chance that Danny Jones like pressed him at all around this, right? Like this dude's claiming to have psychic powers, okay? And does Danny Jones test him? Does he say, "Hey, man, I'm gonna hold up some fingers underneath the table. How many am I holding up?" or anything like that, or even press on him at all? I would guarantee not, right? And instead he's sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, David Grush is probably," you know, he's like buying into the whole David Grush line.
David Grush fella.
Is that YouTube? Are you playing?
Nope. I think it just honestly, I think
no, play that a little bit more, because I think that's when he says like would kind of
everybody's calling a whistleblower.
Yes. And he's talking about he just recently went to New York and did some talk at some penthouse for some billionaire, talking about how he saw a craft that looked like it was 40 feet from the outside, and as soon as you go inside the craft, it's as big as a football field. He's saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and there's
a positive right there. So now he's, you know, disparaging David Grush and the stories that David Grush is saying, right?
Well, at least to his credit, he did it to all right. At least he's not. At least he's disparaging someone else, right? Like you're in a unique position.
Oh, I mean, I'm not with him. Yeah, but it's not personal in this case. I was just kind of throwing some crap. But the thing is, he's disparaging David Grush now, a guy who literally testified to Congress, right? And the reason why David Grush is talking to billionaires is because he doesn't give a shit what Danny Jones or other people in the street say, right? Danny Jones would kill to have interviewed David Grush, you know? And so, you know, I just think it's kind of it's a little ridiculous that he's gonna find that kind of stuff to be silly. The idea that, okay, well, maybe, you know, it's a football field size UFO on the inside, but on the outside, it doesn't look that big. Like, that is a weird concept, but strangely, physics can actually support that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't push back on stuff like this and other stuff, where that's where I kind of have a problem with it. You know, is it feels a little bit maybe jaded or what have you, where it's like, okay, if you're going to push back, well, push back against the guy you're sitting across from, right? And he's always having these CIA people on and stuff like that as well, which just seems really sketchy. I mean, if you be honest and if you have opinions that are skeptical, then be consistent about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, yeah.
For sure, Morehouse seems jaded. I still love Danny Jones. I do think his interview with Ashton was an interesting point in time for this whole subject. And I kind of feel like this poor guy, he does not like the UFO community, especially after like, I mean, yeah, I feel like you can't really win, right? People just love to hate on things in this community, bro. Like,
if you're not like doing the thing they want you to do at the time, if you have a specific take on something, they're gonna let you know. The way that the UFO community seems to be set up is definitely one of narrative. I don't want to say controlling; it's a little too harsh, but like definitely like narrative influence when it comes.
And like you said, it's not even just do the right thing; it's like do the right thing at the right time. Like if you were pro Jay Stratton like a few months ago, you're like Gucci, you're good to go. But if you're like pro Jay Stratton now, who, mind you, is also on the UAPTF with Grush, you know what I mean? He's done weaponized. He's talked publicly about it. Other UAPTF people haven't. Now you're like persona non grata, right? It's so weird.
Absolutely,
this community.
It's so fickle. And really what it comes down to, it seems like, is like different kind of PR moves, different backdoor deals with private industries, possibly things like, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but there are companies being formed in and around this topic. Soul, right? UAP, all different types of different things. I think I heard that Cahill and Alex Dietrich are part now of these brand ambassador things for this other company that's focusing on, like, you know,
moon pies.
No, like the kind of a medical side of assisting people, right? So there's a lot of things growing up around it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the community, right, and just the vitriol and what have you is definitely a big problem in general. And I think that these kind of podcasts don't really help at all either. I think that people should be trying to lift each other up instead of pull each other down. You know, one comment in the chat I see, which is interesting, is that you know, I'm skeptical of remote viewing, but I have absolutely nothing against it. And somebody says, "Oh, well, I think you might change your mind if you looked into what Hal Puthoff has to say," because I actually
Really?
highly respect Hal Puthoff. And yeah, probably. And to that, I would say you should probably look at what Hal Puthoff has to say about 0-point energy and about possible teleportation of objects, because you might change your mind pretty quick on it as well, right? That's the thing that I think is pretty interesting, is that a lot of these concepts are very tied together in ways that I don't think people realize, is that the things that I've been saying are what enables stuff like remote viewing to be possible, that there's a unification theory of quantum and macro, that there's an extra dimension that connects all points in space and time, and that we can extract energy from the quantum vacuum of space-time. Like, that's what you actually have to have be scientifically possible in order for stuff like remote viewing to make any sense at all.
Yeah, and it goes back to Blue Book. Sorry, we were talking about the Kona Blue stuff right yesterday, consciousness, UFOs, crash reveals all together. But even in Project Blue Book in like the 1950s and 60s, they were looking into like channeling and like mediumship, and like this consciousness weird woo element has like kind of always been a part of it. Yeah. Oh, Ashton, the people want to know, you're not drinking a martini tonight. You're drinking a beer. What kind of beer is Ashton Forbes drinking?
That's the main thing that we want to try to figure out. Yeah, no, I mean, actually, I was gonna go like just chill tonight, what have you. That's why I'm wearing my hoodie and what have you. But I was in a space that was very interesting and just had to have a beer. You know, I was listening to a very nice lady talk about a lot of disjointed thoughts for about 10 minutes straight, and was like, oh, I gotta grab a beer. But no, I just drink craft beers, you know, like local ones whenever possible. But yeah, you know,
dude, I'm
it's not
so
a martini
excited
tonight
to get a martini contractor in the desert with you, and then immediately do a what's the word, Jaeger bomb with.
Well, I got to
with
get
Joey.
I got to get the Galactic Pass or whatever. I might actually have to go look into that later tonight if I'm going to actually show up on there. I feel like people might try to fight me though. I'm a little bit worried.
For sure.
I feel
Probably
like there's a
us
lot of people
too,
that
though.
hate me in that community. Like,
You could do. I mean, I don't know if it's bad to say out loud. I mean, I've
Just say
heard
it.
of people
No
who
filter.
who just go get a hotel, right, and they don't even pay for any of the stuff, and they kind of just chill at the pool and like at the pool bar and like don't even
That's
have
probably
to worry about.
me. That's
Yeah,
probably
like
what
an
I'll do. I'll just get like the
$800
basic pass or whatever, and then just
Yeah.
I'll be boozing, drinking martinis. And then when
That's
people
the way to
want to
do it.
come and chat, we'll just, you know, we'll chill. No, I can't wait to have a martini with you guys. It's going to happen at some point
Oh,
in the
yeah.
near future here.
It's
And
gonna
in
be epic.
respect to Danny Jones, like, even though he did me dirty on the show, you know, we'll just be honest about it. You know, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. Like, and even if he was controlled by, you know, he had someone whispering in his ear, I still don't blame him. It's just a situation where, you know, that's the nature of the beast, you know?
Yeah, especially in this field, right? Like you
Yeah.
said, you're literally talking to like CIA, DIA people every other week. They're definitely trying to influence, and he has a huge platform, right? He's totally somebody who people would try and
Oh, yeah.
influence. And you know, that one space we did after your thing, they kind of talked about it a little bit. And when we had that space with him a few weeks back, you guys were cordial. That was kind of cool to see you guys kind of
yeah.
like, you know, it's life. You know what I mean? It happens in this field, bro.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to rake him over the coals every once in a while, but I got nothing against him. But I think that's true of like the whole UFO community. If people could like reconcile more and be more open minded with other people's opinions, and I think the other part too is the politics stuff. Like, it blows me away that politics divides the UFO community the way that it does. I really think that if we get past those things, that we could actually achieve disclosure, and we could probably find it open source, right? It's probably not just the MH370 videos, which I think are real. I think that there's probably a lot of other stuff out there that's real. It's been debunked, dismissed, what have you. And, you know, if we were able to dig into some of that without just kind of conforming to groupthink, I think that we would go a long way.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that we have a lot of the answers we need. We have a lot of the technology and resources we need now to analyze the data, to look over the stuff, even in deep time, and then to kind of come to some conclusions, like at least some. You know, we can start to reject ideas. We can start to include good ones. We can start to figure out and filter out what's practical, what's appropriate, and that has yet to be done. I think, honestly, like, in a thorough way that both invites criticism, allows it, but also allows for progression and for growth from a program like that. a lot of people come into this topic with preconceived notions and they want to find proof of those things only. They don't necessarily stay open-minded to new things or open-minded to being wrong. And that should be one of the aspects of this independent research as well.
And John Strader says he's going to be at Contact in the Desert. Hell yeah.
Oh,
and
now I have to go. I got to meet John. I didn't realize we
Dude.
were on Twitter right now as well. I was wondering where these comments were coming from.
Yeah, we can't pull up the YouTube ones yet because we don't have the proper login, but we're able to pull up the Twitter ones.
Yeah.
Megan says, almost as if a lot of the conflict is manufactured to keep people divided. ... Hey, that's definitely what they've done in the past, right? There's no reason to not think they wouldn't be doing it today. And we see that in every aspect of life, separate of UFO stuff, right? The elites, they love us fighting. All right, should we close out then with this Bob Jacobs clip and then call it a day?
I think so. And we'll get to the clip and we'll give a goodbye after that. I want to thank Ashen again for being here. Stick around. We're not going to leave you nowhere. Let's get the clip up and let's react to it. Let's go.
So this was Bob Jacobs post-error report. And should we do... Yeah, screw it. Why not? Let's just first do his recounting of the event. So this is somebody who claimed to have seen the classic Vandenberg story, which there is a debunk out there, which I personally don't think is legit, but you should totally be aware of it, at least if you want to, just be as most informed as you can. But here's his initial recounting of what happened. This is on Larry King back in the day. It's probably like 2006.
So this is the guy that you posted the clip of like earlier, right? Because I had replied on that one. I had recognized the voice. I was like, oh, that was the guy who was talking to Bill Nye, right?
Yeah. So we'll watch that clip too. We'll do the we'll do the Bob Jacobs.
Oh yes, I'm excited.
First his recounting of the event.
What were you filming and where were you?
I was officer in charge of optical instrumentation at Vandenberg Air Force Base from 1963 to 66.
That's
Our job was
California?
to photograph. That's California, so right there on the coast. Right. And our job was to photograph with high-speed instrumentation every missile launch from Vandenberg going down the test range. They wanted to find out if we could figure out a place to put a telescope where we could get a side view of the missile so that we could see all three stages of powered flight. So I went up to Big Sur, California, up on a U.S. Forest Service road on Anderson Peak. I installed a telescopic sight up there. The Air Force flew in a huge catadioptric telescope from the Cape. It was built by Dr. Walter Manning at the Boston University. They put the telescope up there, and with that thing, which had a focal length of 2,500 inches, we photographed an Atlas missile raising up out of the fog cover and flying downrange. We got all three stages of powered flight, and as the dummy warhead and the package flew on down range, we were all celebrating the fact that we had seen the thing and accomplished the mission. When I got back to the base with the film the next day, I was called into the office of Major Florence J. Mansman, and there were three people in gray suits standing in there. There was a 16-millimeter camera and a screen setup. Major Mansman said, "Lieutenant, sit down and watch this." And he turned down the lights, turned on the camera on the projector, and the film came on. And I recognized it as the film that we'd shot at Big Sur the previous day. Toward the end of the flight, I was looking at Major Mansman saying, "Pretty good stuff, huh, sir?" And suddenly he said, "Just watch this." And as I watched, the warhead, the dummy warhead, the chaff that was put out in front of it as a decoy to deflect the Russian anti-missile tracking radar. Everything was flying along, and suddenly, in the same direction this stuff was flying at about 8,000 miles an hour, an object came into the frame, shot a beam of light at the warhead, flew up to the top, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew around the direction it was flying, shot another beam of light at the warhead, flew down, shot another beam of light at the warhead, and flew out the same way it came in.
Well, I don't understand. Why didn't you see this when you were shooting it?
Well, it was 600 to 800 miles away from us.
Oh, I got you. They confiscated.
Well, first of all, Major Mansman said to me, "What was that? Were you guys screwing around up there?" I said, "No, sir." And he said, "Then tell me what that was." And I said, "We got a UFO." And he said, "Lieutenant, you are never to speak of this again. As far as you're concerned, this didn't happen."
Hold on, guys.
So that's a story that we all know and love from ufology, right? And let's just, for good measure, let's show him beefing with Bill Nye.
I wanted the Bill Nye.
Dr. Jake. There's a fun fact about this. Back to Danny Jones. Chris Bledsoe on Danny Jones podcast said that he was shown that video, that he was shown it by Tim Taylor. So there's
Oh,
people
by
out there
Tim
who's-
Taylor. I think we might be talking about him a little more this week.
He takes pictures. He comes back. They call him in. They show him the pictures.
I
of this
saw it. I'm an
strange thing.
eyewitness.
He saw it.
I'm
he
not
saw
talking
it,
about-
and
Okay,
they confiscate it.
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not talking
I
about
wouldn't be
people who report
surprised.
something. Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mind if I speak, Mr. Comedian?
Go ahead.
I was there. I saw the film with my own eyes. I'm not lying. Why would I? I'm a university professor with a PhD and a lot of years of good, respectful research. So the guys from Ulster may not have seen the UFO, but they saw the results of it. I saw the damn thing on film with my own eyes, so don't call me a liar, and you weren't there. I was.
With all due respect, I'm not calling you a liar. It's just quite a step to say there was a film with remarkable images on it that the CIA confiscated.
Which I saw and which they did.
Yeah, which is quite a step from there to say it was definitely a spacecraft from another civilization. That's the leap that the skeptical community is reluctant to take.
Hey, pal, listen to me. I didn't say it was a spaceship from another civilization. I said it was something in the air that we couldn't identify. Therefore, it was an unidentified flying object. It was shaped like two saucers put together with a golf ball on top, and it fired a beam that we assumed was a plasma beam at a dummy warhead and knocked it out of space. Tell me what happened. Tell me who did that. Tell me in 1964, who had that technology, pal? Not us, and not the Russians, and nobody I know of. So come on,
what's
Mr.
your
Skeptic,
conclusion?
what about it?
So what's your conclusion?
What's your conclusion?
What are you saying? Well, my conclusion is that something happened that you don't know what it was, and I wouldn't be surprised if it had something to do with another aspect of military testing in the sky that night. And it's a much more reasonable explanation.
We had nothing. There was nothing in our inventory that could
So
possibly
let's do this other little thought experiment, everybody. Okay, let's say this has been going on since 1967, routinely, right? There's an old joke in broadcasting.
Are you going to do this with baking soda and vinegar, Bill?
Hold on. We're running out of time.
It's an old joke in broadcasting. Well, it's like trying to photograph a car wreck. At one time considered an impossible thing to do. If you send out a news crew, let's go shoot a car wreck, that was a joke. Well, now routinely on the nightly news, we see car wrecks. We see car wrecks on the freeway. We see car wrecks behind us. Why
was it a joke?
Because there didn't used to be a camera everywhere. There are millions and millions of cameras. There are billions of digital pictures taken every week.
You're not saying there are no UFOs. You're saying that have been proven.
I'm saying that it's quite a step to see something you don't know what it is in the sky, to say that there are alien
you got to
spacecraft
understand, Dr. Jacobs,
that are monitoring our
he's seen
nuclear
this.
weapons.
Dr. Jacobs.
Well, I understand that.
Now, so if you're questioning what he's seen.
No, well, I'm questioning the conclusion that the technology did not exist in 1964 to produce images on film that the CIA would want to confiscate.
If I may.
Well, in
It's quite a
1964,
step.
you were trying to figure out what girls were. I was in the service in a scientific capacity.
So, sir, you can attack.
Get off your skeptic
but that
high
doesn't-
horse, pal.
Well, it just doesn't.
You're attacking
it's
us.
quite a
You're the
step.
one who's making ad hominem attacks and saying that's quite a step. You bet it's quite a step.
Guys, I love, is this Dr. Jacobs? Is that?
Yeah,
I
fuck
love
you.
this guy. This is my behind Edward C. Lynn. This is my next UFO community hero right here. Like whatever
Yeah.
this guy's saying, I'm 100% in. I don't care if he says remote viewing's legit. I'm in. I'm 100% in. Like this is the guy. This guy
Who's your
is not
spirit
lying.
animal, Ashton? I would say when he.
Oh,
I
yes.
was getting some Troll Hunter stream vibes when I was watching this
Dude,
clip
he
right now.
kills Bill Nye there. My God, the baking soda comment. Oh, great play of that clip, by the way. You also got to get the Chick-fil-A sauce girl in there.
You're right. You're honest. Yeah, definitely.
We
We're
do
gonna
have
get as
that.
many as we can. Leave us a comment if you have any ideas of memes you want to see in this mix, dude. Like,
Oh yeah,
you're-
great play with the meme too, Bill. I'm just gonna hit it one more time. I love that stuff, dude.
you gonna do with baking soda and vinegar, dude? Like,
And by the way,
so-
Bill Nye was part of currently part of the Skeptical Inquirer CSI Fellows with other people such as Mick West and Neil deGrasse Tyson as well.
Yeah,
It's a
in
pretty
my last
interesting list.
video, there's a direct line from Donald Menzel, like the first Blue Book debunker, even before Hynek, to Carl Sagan, to Bill Nye, to Neil deGrasse Tyson. So like the mainstream media scientists telling you UFOs aren't real, it's almost like this weird like Sith Lord thing, like apprentice master. There's the same one you're watching. has a direct line to like the same one your grandparents were watching and your parents. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty weird how it works out like that, but it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I got secondhand embarrassment for Bill Nye on that
You re-
one. He's never gonna live that one down in my mind.
Dude, I feel bad for these dudes, especially. I mean, this might be cope, right? I mean, I personally think there is a phenomenon and there has been a cover up. There's way more documented proof of like the cover up, right? I'd say. So I feel cope, but like I feel really bad for these dudes, dude. That especially the ones that are like, it's like hot potato. You know what I mean? Like Carl Sagan, J. Allen Hynek, Donald Menzel, Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson. They're all kind of playing hot potato with like this topic. And dude, Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson, especially, are the ones left holding the potato. Like they're the ones who people are going to be pissed at, probably more so than like the government or whatnot. All those clips of Neil deGrasse Tyson just like absolutely kind of being a dick to people about this subject. And I'll be honest, Bill Nye was kind of being nice in that one. He was kind of being a dick, but
He gets worse. Bill Nye gets worse, and then Michael Schumer is another one. It's like this this intellectual kind of stonewalling, right? Of like they just sat there and mocked everything for so long.
Well, and that's why I like Mick West. You know, say what you will about him, he's not. Some of these fools, like Philip Glass and them, they were just total jerks to people on live TV, like crying about their abduction experience. Like, you're making that up, you piece of crap.
Mick West is pretty bad too. I put him up there with those guys. I mean, he's gonna. If this stuff ends up being true, then it's gonna destroy what. I mean, it's not really a career or whatever he's got going on. It'll destroy his credibility for sure, right? Like these guys. The sad part now is that they've been doing this so long. I mean, Mick West has been doing it for 15 years or more, right? And some of these other guys, Bill Nye, I mean, that video is what, 20 years old, probably. Like these guys have skin in the game now, right? To the point where this stuff comes out, like they're gonna look like complete morons. Not just morons, they're gonna look like enemies of humanity that were setting us back from potentially having that come out 20 years ago, right? And that's why I tell people that, you know, they should be a little bit less certain about what they know is true or not true when they're just making claims that can't be proven, right? Where, oh no, I think it's seagulls and birds, or everything has to have a prosaic or explanation, right? Because when it comes out that you're wrong, then what? You know, are you going to expect the people to have mercy on you that you were sitting there trying to crap on over and over and over again for years and years and years? I wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that brings us to our final clip, right? Which was Bob Jacobs, the dude who we just saw. He went to Arrow. And he's one of these people who's like, I was ghosted by Arrow. So here's him speaking about it after the report came out. This is a new clip. This came out over the weekend. It was on, I know this is Gary Heseltine on the right here. He's a big UK researcher. I forget what channel exactly it was on, but we'll link it. Yeah.
And recently, Lou Elizondo, whom a lot of people might know, Lou Elizondo says.
Oh, yeah. Also, kind of like how Tuba was saying, Chris Bledsoe was showing this clip by that Tim Taylor guy. Recently, Lou Elizondo was kind of out here a few weeks ago saying that he also saw this clip and pointed Kirkpatrick to its direction. So that's what that was about in the beginning.
And recently, Lou Elizondo, whom a lot of people might know, Lou Elizondo says he saw it, the very same thing that I described when he was in charge of ATIP in DC. So it still exists. No one can find it now because Lou reported this to Dave Grush, who said he went to look for it where Lou said it was, and it was now gone. Apparently, when Lou left ATIP, they wiped out all of his files and all of his material and so on and so forth. What's going on right now, Gary, is very simple. This is the same cabal that's been in charge of this UFO business for decades in the United States. They've covered it up whenever possible. Now we all thought that Arrow was a wonderful new thing that we were going to get to testify, and several of us did. And we thought that our testimony would be validated. And then Sean Kirkpatrick, the idiot, who was in charge at the time, went before Senator Gillibrand's committee and said there was no proof of any extraterrestrial activity. Recently released in that news release she held up.
He's not afraid to take shots at people, huh? I love it. I love this guy.
You can't.
Dr.
You can
Jacobs,
you can't deny that.
You're out there. You're my spirit animal,
dude.
You're my
We
spirit
got to
guide.
get you on Ashton's stream, Dr. Jacobs. He's
That'd be cool.
We could do a troll hunt stream with Dr. Jacobs and I. Just
that'd be
people would watch
legendary.
that. Just smashing
be
people.
epic.
You got some good show ideas, dude. The ghost hunting with UFO Shane is definitely going to happen.
I really want to do that. I
That
really
was-
want to go with UFO Shane because
That'd
UFO
be
Shane
amazing.
would be the one who'd be like the one who's like, you know, chill and what have you, and I'd be the one freaking out, imagining I'm seeing ghosts everywhere.
I
That'd be
still want
legit.
you guys to get kidnapped by the cartel in Peru. I think that'd make for great content. You know,
I'll get in touch with Timothy Abarino, see if he can hook us up.
Looking for mummies get abducted by the cartel. Have to do have to have Keem like fly out in a helicopter and rescue y'all. But yeah, a lot of stuff happening in the news. Any closing thoughts? I guess, guys. Thanks for being here, Ashton. That's fun to have you hop in.
No, I just think that, just as I said before, I think this community needs to come together in general. I think that both sides need to talk to each other. I think there's even sides and factions within the believer side, and sides and factions within the skeptic side. And if everybody could get past the petty politics and the other nonsense that doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things, we could achieve something. And I think that on both sides, too, people should be a little bit less sure about what their opinion is of the phenomenon, right? I think that everybody's very ingrained in their own niche, because at the end of the day, it's probably going to be something different than what we all expect, and probably a lot darker than we expect to. So thanks again for having me on for this brief period. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Dude,
And I
thanks for
totally
coming
agree with what
through.
you said, too. It's crazy that nobody on Earth, I don't even care if you're in the CIA, DA for 30 plus years, knows what's going on with this phenomena, and people will be so quick to like discount things so matter of factly. It's like, bro, like, I mean, yeah, I don't want to go into specifics, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's like, how are you going to be like, you don't know, bro? I'm pretty sure they do abduct us and do really horrible things to us, and like to discount that, or like maybe that some elites are like in touch with these entities. Like, you don't know for sure that that's not happening. And if anything, there's kind of a lot of evidence that maybe that is. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, what I've learned is keep your mind open to everything, right? Like, I was crapping on remote viewing in the chat, but I was trolling. I think that, I have my mind open to that kind of stuff. Even abductions, which I was in a space earlier saying that's like the hardest thing for me to believe, but if, we have crazy advanced technology, who knows? Maybe that stuff has been going on, right? Cattle mutilation is pretty weird. So I think everybody should just try to keep a little bit of open mind to it, and then we can get the answers everybody wants.
Yes,
I
sir.
love that. I love that. That's a good note to go out on, guys. Keep your minds open, your eyes sharp, right? There's a lot of new information coming out. There's been a lot of gatekeepers out there that it's not just UFOs, right? It's fundamental physics that have been kind of kept from us, right? We brought up Hal Puthoff and Jesse Michaels and the kind of information that's kind of coming out now. We have people in the field like Dave Rossi and stuff that are looking into it. Salvatore Pius. We got, everyone. Randall Carlson, right? Ben, I forget his
Junior,
name.
Malcolm Bendel.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to kind of chew on, and I think supporting each other and supporting that research is going to be key, because we don't really know what we don't know, and that's going to involve a lot of people just kind of shooting in the dark until we feel out the walls and the parameters of what we're really dealing with here. But keep an open mind for sure.
Cool. Oh, UCR Lou used to do this. Let's steal one of his things. Ashton, you got anything coming up on your show or your stream? Any interviews you want to plug or anything like that? Any podcasts?
Yeah, I just did 2 streams that I'm gonna probably turn into Hard Truths podcast. One of them hasn't aired yet, with Martin Gibson about unification theory that he has. He and Roy D. Herbert are buddies and see pretty close to eye to eye. They don't have the exact same theory, but it was an interesting conversation I had with him the other day that I'm going to get edited a little bit and posted. And then I just had one with Brad Voorhees, the Son of Gravity. He went to Mark Sokol's lab and worked on an anti-gravity project he had. Wasn't necessarily successful, but every failure is just another opportunity to improve.
I like those APEC guys.
Yeah,
They're
the
cool.
APEC dudes are sweet.
I'm glad they're in the mix. They're like in the garage, like trying to make it happen. I'm glad. I love Alien Scientist. We got to get him on here soon. But yeah, Mark, and yeah, that's very cool. Cool stuff.
Yeah, they're great guys for sure.
How about you, Tuba? Anything? Shadows of the Invisible Sun 3. Anything you got cooking, or just still gonna get down to StreamYards?
Yeah, we're gonna make an announcement. Shadows of the Invisible Sun 3 will come out 2028, and
hell yeah.
so just get ready. It'll be a virtual psychedelic experience. No, I think the things I'm looking forward to the most are the shows we have lined up for the rest of the week.
Yeah, we do have some pretty cool ones lined up.
We've been able to
keep them low key for now, so that
keep them low key for now. Just be on the lookout.
People don't get harassed, but
God,
people do not want us to win, bro. So yeah,
guys, if you
Nice
don't
swag, by the way, I like your swag.
Thank
Those
you.
are
Right,
good,
dude?
Tuba.
Yes.
Oh, but you have it on too, yeah.
Yeah. Got to be
Get you
branded a
one.
little bit here. Yeah, so be on the lookout. Maybe there's going to be some merch available. You know what I mean? Just be on the lookout for the show too. Go to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, go to our Twitter account if you want to get caught up on daily news about UFOs. That's what we do.
Cool. All right. Well, fun times, everyone.